I was going to accompany this with visuals, but then I got really lazy, so enjoy a blank screen for most of this episode, guys.
Who will come out on top, everyone? It's Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my co-hosts Lauren and Bruce, and today we have a bonus episode for you all, where we are finally concluding our coverage of the adventure era of Archie, and really the first 15 years of Archie in general. I know we've had like 3 different endings to it at this point, but this is really the last one. Especially since we're going to be caught up in Sonic X recordings after this. But for right now, we are going to be ranking every special and every milestone issue of Archie's Sonic the Hedgehog up to number 160. Probably because a lot of the ones after that will just blow these out of the water, but that's what we're doing for right now.
Cool.
So, do you guys remember much of any of these specials and milestones?
I vaguely remember a lot of them.
I have a good idea of the milestones.
The milestones, I think more so.
As we come to each special, I'm just going to flip through it and look at it and be like, okay, this is about what it was.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do also.
Yeah, the specials and the super specials, you know, part of it is that it's a long time ago for each of these.
Yeah.
You know, we covered Sonic in Your Face. It had to have been, I don't know, a year and a half by this point?
About that, I think.
But I guess we'll just go down the line. We'll do specials and then milestones, maybe?
I mean...
Yeah, I think...
I guess I don't really care that much.
I'm fine either way.
I was excited to do the milestones, get a better handle on those.
Well, then
I guess we can also finish strong. Okay, we'll finish off strong and start all over the place.
So, let's start off with Sonic the Hedgehog in Your Face. This was the very first special. It had Princess Sally's quest with Nicole and some things to fight, I think. It also had that weird backwards fucking, like, art by Spazion, whatever that was.
Mirror Zone.
Yeah, and I think it had Tales at the Sonic Convention.
Right.
There's a turtle in that story that I looked back at, I'm like, wait, was that who Tommy was? No, it's just a different turtle.
That would be funny.
That would be quite a callback.
So, as the first special, this one was goofy, but I would say, we kept this at the top of our list as the best special for quite a while.
Just because the other ones were even crazier.
The rest of them were just worse. Wow.
They got crazier in some aspects, but mostly just got worse.
Damn.
Crazy was probably the worst word. This is pretty standard for a special.
Yeah.
Inoffensive, but a story that feels halfway meaningful, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean,
because at least it's something for Sally.
Yeah, the Sally story feels like it's the most plot important, which, granted, it is, I think.
Yeah. Second on our list, we have Sonic and Knuckles, which was our adaptation of the second half of Sonic 3. They adapted the first half way earlier because the 2 parts released in weird halfway point like that. I can't talk right, but it had the main Sonic and Knuckles story, and then it had 2 Knuckles wanders around Angel Island talking to himself stories from Penders.
Don't we love those?
For that reason alone, it ranks lower.
It really does, yeah.
I knew already that it would do that. The main story is not a particularly good adaptation of Sonic and Knuckles. It also doesn't have Doomsday Zone, just like the other Sonic 3 one didn't. No Archie comic ever seemed to adapt Doomsday Zone. Even when they hit Sonic Genesis, they stopped after Sonic 2, so...
It also has a non-resolution, because Knuckles just destroys the Chaos Emerald, and he's like, oh, I have another one.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about
that. That's right.
That's stupid.
That is really
it really
stupid.
is.
because like it's not like he puts it back together like the Master Element in SA2, which also is dumb, but at least that's something. Yeah. And,
I just find it hilarious that I guess he does in Sonic Adventure as well. I always thought it was weird that he just destroyed the emerald. I don't know. In these comics, the Chaos Emeralds are really...
The Chaos Emeralds are a dime a dozen in these comics.
they're more disposable, certainly.
Yeah.
This issue also, in one of the Knuckles Wandering Around stories, has our first appearance of the dingoes looking nothing like they do when Penders turns them into a fascist military.
Oh?
Yeah, did you remember? I didn't.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's a thundering herd of dingoes. Aren't they friendly? Usually, but the weather's upsetting them. But they're like dudes. They're not animals.
That's so weird. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's... Yeah, no thanks.
Definitely lower than In Your Face.
Yep. Now, Sonic Triple Trouble. This had, obviously, the Triple Trouble story. It also had Tails in a submarine, and something else. I think it had more of Knuckles wandering around. yeah, it had Tails versus Octobot, and then it had Knuckles
Good old Octobot.
walking around with Vector, and it has the introduction of Catweasel.
Oh, very important.
That makes
special.
it important.
Yes. Yeah, this sort of it starts to get into like solo Tails stuff, which I would be in favor of, except for seeing where all that went. I'm not actually in favor of that.
Yeah.
I like the main story because it focused on Chaos Emerald being split in half and like having world-shattering consequences because of that, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Sonic Underground took from these comics.
Right, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Along with Aether, who I guess Tails' first story here technically builds up to him eventually meeting Aether because there's ancient walkers and stuff. It also has that weird sequence where Sonic runs through the Triple Trouble zones and hits a black, like, silhouette of Robotnik, but he calls him Eggman.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about, like, does that mean Sonic teleported to the game universe? And maybe.
I always thought that was a weird, interesting explanation.
Yeah.
And at least it's an explanation instead of nothing.
Yeah. So I would say, by virtue of only having one Knuckles Wandering Around story and the Triple Trouble being better than Sonic and Knuckles, I'd place this above the Sonic and Knuckles special.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Chaotix. I don't fucking remember anything about this one. Let's see. The Chaos Effect. Okay, that's the main story with the amusement park, and Renfield T. Rodent is the antagonist.
Everyone's favorite.
Oh, right. There's that little intermission section of the Chaotix playing tag like children. And then they get kidnapped, and Knuckles has that whole thing where he has to save them from Archimedes.
So, yeah, these specials are unfortunately bogged down by the solo Knuckles stories.
They really are.
Those really drag this down because the main story I think is actually surprisingly solid. Not only is it a just not bad and it's kind of fun to follow, but it's actually a good adaptation of Chaotix too.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to do it some way, I mean, they don't have Neutrogic High Zone, which also one of the weirdest fucking zone names in the series. But depowering Knuckles and introducing the Chaotix, allows them to show off their talents, which is ironic because then they don't for the rest of the series, pretty much. But, you get Metal Sonic, you get Titan Metal Sonic, you get Giant Knuckles.
I mean, it's solid enough.
Being a little action romp, yeah. And it, this is what we were saying last week about having a good editor is Kantrovich, I don't think was an editor, but when he was working with Penders, the stories were always a little bit more reasonably paced.
Right.
So I think he really added to this in some respect, and probably made it more fun, since that was also when Penders stories had way more actual, like, silliness about them.
Had stuff actually happening.
Yeah, that helps. So ranking this is a little tricky because I could see either way. I could see. I think it certainly is either number 1 or number 2.
I'm thinking number 2.
And yeah, I'll accept that because I think the chaotic story. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think that the chaotic story is better than the main story of In Your Face, but the chaotic's issue is bogged down by the stupid Knuckles stuff.
Yeah. I think that's a good take.
Alright, I'm not even sure I would put it above Triple Trouble if I'm honest, but I'll accept you guys' decision, and, it could be worse, I suppose. So I'll keep that there. Our next issue is, of course, Super Sonic vs. Hyper Knuckles. This one is fucking awesome.
Yeah, this one's rad.
I mean, it's basically just a big dumb fight scene, but that's okay. I like big dumb fight scenes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this feels like the comics just going to their logical conclusion, because at this point it was like, wow, Sonic and Knuckles are really just gonna fight for no reason every time they look at each other. The comics are like, yeah, they are. You know what? They are.
Yeah,
and
why
boy,
not?
howdy, are they gonna go at it this time?
Let's lean into the schlock and make some really fun schlock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got really good, very. I think part of what makes the fight between Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles good, especially, is that it's Art Moini, Art Moini is not like the most amazing artist on the comics, but he has so many big panels and page space to draw all of the action scenes.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being a lot more satisfying. And this is also the issue with, it's not a Knuckles fuck-around story, or it is a little bit, but not as much. This is the story that introduces Locke, which could take it down a peg, if we're honest, because it shows the
for
whole
me it doesn't.
of him jumping into a wall of fire and all that.
Yeah, I say Super Sonic vs. Hyper Knuckles is good enough that it can carry, even based off of Locke being introduced.
Well, and as much as we hate Locke, that story on its own, taken in isolation, is not.
It's really not that bad.
Representative, yeah.
Yeah.
So we place this above In Your Face, you think?
I would
totally say so. Just because, Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles, like, literally. Just read the main story, then drop the rest of the issue. Don't worry about it.
You don't need it. You really don't need it.
It on its own would be worth purchasing the special. I think. You're not gonna feel robbed. Like, oh, it's a little shorter. Whatever. It was awesome. Who cares?
Sure. And now it's immediately replaced.
Well. They got better, I guess. They got a lot better.
Yeah, they did get better. No,
Mecha Madness.
Mecha Madness goes right on top, yeah.
It's too good, because...
It is so good.
Well, we had a schlocky Sonic vs. Knuckles fight last time, and we have a schlocky Sonic vs. Knuckles fight this time, but we have context, which improves it and makes it feel a little bit better, because it makes sense for Knuckles and Sonic to fight when they're both roboticized, or... And B, it's drawn by Patrick butt-fucking Spaziant and looks incredible.
Oh yeah, the art is what really puts it over the edge for me.
That's why you read this thing, basically.
100%.
This was...
I was going to say, yes, the action is fantastic, and the art looks great. But I also have to give it credit, because Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles, like, there's almost no plot to it.
No.
There actually is plot context for this that elevates it just a little bit more. Showing off just how much of a force that roboticized Sonic is really ramps up the tension in these multiple fights here in this issue.
Yeah, and it does a way better job of Sonic versus his friends than, like, the Sonic gets brainwashed story from the early comics.
And
it ends with not Road Metropolis being nuked, but bombed pretty hard.
That's true, it does.
So it's, it's action the whole way through, and the fact that it's still Gallagher and his usual style is kind of unimportant because it's just that fun to read on the page. Spaziant just has such a good understanding of the Sega visual style, Japanese style. It also, this issue, contains the introduction of Mammoth Mogul with his fearsome foursome fighting against the Chaotix, which I don't know is necessarily a point in its favor, because it's not a good story, but it's something.
No, it's not, I don't think it's specifically a bad story either.
It's for these comics, it's a perfectly fine story.
Yeah.
Because you look at it and you're like, oh wow, they're making this elaborate backstory for this completely random villain.
This random villain we just introduced. Let's give them, like, the big ol' backstory.
But you know that means, okay, they're going to do something with this guy, eventually at least. And yeah, they do, eventually. So, like, it's not a waste of your time exactly.
It is kind of crazy to me that, as we were reading these, Robotnik got defeated at a certain point, and so we were seeing how they were going to build up new villains to replace him. I had no idea that we would end up liking Mogul so much more than Nagus.
Yeah, that is an interesting one, because I expected Nagus to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, well, and because he's the one with an established history with the series.
Yeah. Yeah, Mogul just appears and is given a backstory.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is one thing that is absolutely dragging this.
It's our favorite, the 40 Fathoms Freedom Fighters.
What to say?
It is very telling that this was not printed in, what was it, Sonic Select Book 2, I think? Along with the Mogul story. They included the Mogul story, but not this one for some reason.
No one cares about this story.
Well, because you could remove this from it and nobody would even know.
You could just get rid of the 40 Fathoms Freedom Fighters for the most part and no one would care.
Yeah, it's like... I'm trying to think. They make an appearance here. I think they make an appearance in the Tales series. I think that's where they come from. I think this is after that.
Yeah, it is.
And they're relevant to the fucking Street Sharks planet in the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy comic.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I want to say, as crazy as this sounds, I want to say there is a bank story featuring them in the fucking Flynn era at one point.
Alright.
Would not be surprised.
Well, I mean, we've... yeah. Huh.
I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, so that's the worst part of Mecha Madness, but it is not enough to put it below.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Definitely not.
So I'm realizing now, as I click on Sonic Live to drag it in here, we don't have any way to rate these by ironic enjoyment.
We all have ironic
together. Yeah, ironic enjoyment, Sonic Live is way at the top.
Yeah, honestly, I'm mostly ranking by just flat enjoyment of any kind.
Yeah, so my thing is I'm ranking it mostly by quality. As well as enjoyment. I'm trying to balance the both of them. And if that's the case, Sonic Live goes straight to the fucking bottom.
Yeah, the quality the quality of this story cannot be understated.
I barely knew what was going on for most of it.
It's nonsense. It's Sonic in the real world. There's Sega employees who base the games off of the Sonic comics, which are real in universe. Penders draws Sonic's quills like a shell crab. There's a game with Princess Sally in it and a helmet, and it's not real, but the kid is playing it on the Genesis, but the Genesis doesn't exist, and he's holding a TV remote.
It's so fucking wild.
Yeah, what do you even say? It's hilarious in that it's not very good, but...
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though. It's funny because it's shit.
Yeah,
I can compare it a lot to some of the later specials, where they're just completely meaningless.
That's true, actually.
Because this is completely meaningless to the big picture. It's
It
just
really
an
is.
oddity
so
that never is mentioned again.
given that, a lot of those stories are incidentally less fun than Sonic Live. Now that I'm thinking about it, so do we?
I
I
don't
guess
think
the
this is going to be at the bottom at the end.
No, I think right now it's at the bottom. It will not end up at the bottom, though.
So we don't want to rank this above anything we've covered so far, not even Sonic
I
and
don't-
Knuckles?
No, I don't think so, personally.
Alright, and the two other stories, the
yeah.
Substitute Freedom Fighters, blah, who cares?
Oh, boy.
And
Oh, boy.
Knuckles Quest Part 2, which is the Dungeons & Dragons one. I mean, it's got nice Spaziant art, but...
Yeah, it's got good art, but, like, the story itself is completely, like, nothing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna place it above.
No.
Sonic Blast is our next one. Did you guys forget this one existed? Because I did.
Yeah, I think I
No.
did.
I would not forget one of the best game adaptations we have in the comics.
Okay, that's fair. This is the most accurate game adaptation that we ever got.
I guess, yeah, it is.
Right now it goes. It is very, very Sonic 3D Blast.
I have to give it mad props for that.
It also has Sonic creating a ball of water and throwing it at light speed.
I kind of like that. That's just so stupid and silly.
And also it de-roboticizes the flickies.
That's right.
You got to make it fit with the games somehow.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, these early comics were kind of wild. This has multiple weird moments, like the bit where Eggman's arm almost gets... Sorry, Eggman. Robotnik's arm almost gets chopped off by a ring.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
forgotten... I was saying, I'd forgotten about the saltwater de-roboticizing the flickies.
Yeah, it's because we can't just, like, put badniks in it, apparently.
Yeah, why don't we just throw all the Robians into the ocean?
well, SBO did that with Salma, and then she died.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Or not Salma. What the fuck is the pink one's name?
It was...
Oh, God, what was his name?
He's such an important character. Why am I forgetting his name?
Valdez.
I knew it was something like that.
What was the pink one's name? She was only in that story.
I don't remember.
It was something unmemorable.
Salma was SBO's daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right. There's two other stories in this. Right. There's one that's a phony awards show, and then one that's slapstick comedy with Bunny. That's fine. I don't care. So this... I don't know where to place it. Maybe above Sonic and Knuckles?
I think that's... Yeah,
I
that's
guess
fair.
It's a more accurate adaptation than Triple Trouble, but I think Triple Trouble has the more fun script.
Yeah. I mean, it gets the accurate adaptation award for sure, but that doesn't really count for many points here.
Well, damn, maybe we should have set up like an actual award show.
Oh yeah, like in this issue, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's always later. We can do Sonic Awards at some point.
That might be fun. Anyway.
So yeah, it can go there.
Yeah, I can go there. That's good.
I crowded all of the milestones in here, but the next special is the first of the Sonic Super Specials, Battle Royale, where the Freedom Fighters and the Chaotix go to bat over the Sword of Acorns, even though actually Mogul has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This story at the time feels incredibly unsatisfying. In retrospect, where this was going with Mogul's plot absolutely blew my mind. However, I don't think that really counts for any points here.
Yeah, basically... It's another one of those, it's schlocky, but the thing is... Super Sonic vs. Hyper Knuckles had the benefit of super forms in a wacky environment. Mecha Madness had the benefit of roboticization and incredible art. This has neither. It's all Sam Maxwell. And I don't hate Sam Maxwell. I've talked about liking him in the same way that Lauren kind of likes Al Bigley.
Right.
But it's not super impactful for this story. I would say, if anything is a selling point for this comic, it's the fact that it has Chad Twan.
Yes. I was
Yeah.
waiting to talk about the other
That's a good
story. It's
point.
not often that the second story outweighs the primary, but that is 100% the case here.
Yeah, it honestly does.
I like Antoine being a military badass when he doesn't stop being Antoine. I do dislike that he talks shit about Bunny at the start, though, so he loses some boyfriend points for that. But overall, I do like that story. So where do we place this?
That's a good question.
Is Chad Twan enough to put it above Sonic Blast or Triple Trouble? Because I think it's probably above Sonic and Knuckles, because it's just not a very good issue.
It is.
Honestly, it can't count for too much.
Yeah, if the main story isn't good enough, I don't think we can. We can say the secondary story takes up for that.
All right, so below Sonic Blast, you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Brave New World, our second Sonic Super Special. What a interesting story that was. Featuring the Freedom Fighters adventuring through the ruins of Mobotropolis just after liberating it. And being upset about stuff, because this is where Sonic finds out his parents are alive. This is where Sally cries about how her entire home is kind of gone. Maybe there's some other stuff, I don't know. We liked this story at the time that we read it. I feel like I don't like it now.
It's not the worst thing, but this is right in the middle of a very troubled time for the comics. There are a lot of plot lines here that we're in the middle of, or building to, or whatever. They're happening. That I'm not a fan of. Like, this is when we have, like, a little bit of Robian racism. The king is being terrible, as usual, in these comics, despite having recently returned. And it's just kind of a little directionless in general. So, it's not boring, but I don't like what it does, really.
Yeah, and...
I
don't know if we ever clarified this on video, but we praised this comic for its background work from Penders.
Oh, yeah.
Penders didn't do it, it was Spaziant.
That's very important to note, yes.
That is pretty important to note, actually. Yeah.
And we had said at the time, this is some of, Penders' best artwork because of that, but knowing that, it means that, actually, his jank drawings of the characters, it's still not the worst that they eventually got, but then now it's like, wow, that doesn't look that good. So yeah, I think even at the time I said this is very story shaped, because I so get what Penders is going for here as a sort of introspective character study, making things more complex, but it's not good. So I don't know where to place this, honestly, because I respect the ambition. It's probably better than Sonic and Knuckles.
I'd put it between Sonic and Knuckles and Battle Royale, personally.
Yep.
All right. So
I have a feeling that's going to become the most busy area.
It seems that way. Return of the King. I think I said I liked this one somewhat, and you guys just didn't.
I hate this one. This one's stupid.
Yes, it features the characters returning from their excursion to somewhere. I don't remember where they were. But they've got the sword and
tracking Naugus, I think, and they just came home after that. I think.
Yes.
No.
Wait, no. Or was this just coming back from Angel Island?
I think they're getting back from fighting Mogul on Angel Island.
I think that's it.
But this is the one where Max is Crystal and he's ordered the annihilation of the Robians, but he's secretly being influenced by Naugus. And they have to get his sanity back.
This is wrong on many counts. The fact that everyone just listens to the king and is like, all right, we're going to execute all the Robians is really stupid.
Yeah.
The fact that he's actually controlled by Naugus, and then Naugus is an idiot and just shows his hand immediately and is defeated very easily is also very stupid.
Yeah, I think that the main function this comic serves is, well, it's better Sam Maxwell artwork than Battle Royale, but that's still not saying much. It still looks really weird. But the main function this comic serves is to eventually get Max back to sanity. And, well, I think it looks worse in hindsight because it didn't really do that much.
I forgot about that. That's right. They kind of just throw that in at the end. They're like, oh yeah, remember the plot thread about the crown of Acorn? Well, he just had it all along. He just had to realize it was in his heart.
Sure.
Like, it was so abrupt and lame. And that was all it took to make him not Crystal and not sick physically, but very much still sick mentally.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's not great. And the other story in this is just sort of an addendum to what was going on with Antoine and Bunny in Endgame.
Yeah.
Which is not unwelcome, but it doesn't add a lot that we didn't already know about, especially since I think some pages of this literally got added to the remaster of Endgame.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is weird, but we should judge it by the way it was originally put together.
Of course.
And for that, I don't dislike the story. I mean,
no, this story's mostly fine.
Bunny and Antoine are great. So yeah.
I guess I'll always say more of them. So where do we place this? I would want to put it above Brave New World. Do you want to put it below?
I definitely want to put it below.
Yeah.
Fine. It's 2-1. Alrighty. Our next special is, oh god, it's fucking Sonic Kids. Honestly,
my favorite.
Horror of the frigging cover page aside, because it's freaky looking. This one is not like disgusting. It's
not
dry.
Offensive or anything.
It's inoffensive.
Yeah, there's honestly not a whole lot really going on in this story.
No.
Guys, I'm gonna have to remind you of the fact how this screws with the continuity and attempts to explain things wrongly, and then just doesn't explain anything because it just doesn't work with the established facts.
Yeah, this is the one that is like, it has the stupid formation of the Freedom Fighters thing that doesn't work.
Right.
And it has all the characters as kids together, which doesn't work chronologically.
Right.
I'm not, like, canon contradictions are annoying. They would not alone be able to make me give it up. The problem is just that there's no point to any of this.
Yeah. I feel like this was already, we're getting to the point where the super specials were just like, let's just throw stories we can't do in the main issues into these.
Yep.
Yeah. There's nothing particularly likable about the first story, and I hate looking at Baby Tails' stupid huge eyebrows that don't make any sense. The second and third stories are less of a problem because you have that one with Sonic getting shoes for Tails from Merlin. Which is, again, it's silly.
Something.
I don't mind that much. It's whatever. And then you have the friggin' Rashomon parody, which I actually kind of like, with Sonic, Sally, and Antoine fighting that Combot.
Mm-hmm.
I like it just because the bit with Antoine is just awesome and hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's more Chad-Twan, even if it's not real Chad-Twan.
Yeah, but it goes to show, if he can imagine it, maybe he can do it one day.
Sure.
Well, this is after he's already been Chad-Twan, so...
It's true.
Because he
chronologically, isn't this before though?
I don't
because
know.
This is this before Robotnik is defeated? I thought it was before Robotnik was defeated. I could be wrong about that.
I think that this is a leftover combat from after Robotnik's been defeated. I'm looking at
it is a leftover combat. I don't know specifically if it's before or after Robotnik or not.
There's nothing here that I think explicitly says that Robotnik is still around, so I'm going to assume it's set in the present at the time.
I guess, yeah.
In any case, God, where do we put this? Above Return of the King or below? I would put it below, but
I definitely put it below.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, easily.
So the Sonic and Knuckles pocket is being preserved. All right. We're not covering stuff that's just reprints. So Sonic number 50 director's cut. That's no.
Right.
Wait a second.
Oh,
boy. We think it's better than Sonic and Knuckles? Is that really true?
Sonic and Knuckles?
I did that like reflexively, but I think it goes below, honestly.
I think. Yeah.
Maybe?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sonic and Knuckles pocket is dead. Long live Sonic and Knuckles pocket. And actually, we may usurp that right here with Super Special number 7, the Image Comics crossover.
This is another one that I get some level of ironic enjoyment out of.
This thing is a booty mess.
But I have no idea what's going on for 99% of it.
It is bonkers.
Yeah, I cannot help but be fascinated reading this issue. Like, sure, it's all over the place and it's really stupid.
Yeah.
But there's a lot here that's kind of interesting and entertaining in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, we've got famous comic book hero Particle in this issue.
Our favorite.
And we've got Mulder and Scully.
No, it's Skulder and Mully. Get that right.
Oh, okay. Real talk. I was like, oh, I gotta remember to say their names wrong, and then I accidentally said them right. We've got Ripoff X-Files. Yeah. We've got...
It's fucking incredible.
A bunch of Image Comics characters who do not belong here in the slightest. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know shit about Image Comics as we've established. I read some of the summaries of like who these characters are, I think after we did that video, and some of this like fucked up. Like, the Max specifically, it should not be in any comic that children are reading.
Alright.
Okay.
There is a lot of, at least threat of rape in that comic.
That's... interesting.
Well, that just makes this crossover even more bizarre, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It ends, by the way, with sort of our first taste of Gruckle's power in a lot of ways. Because Knuckles screams so loud that the Master Emerald fixes everything.
Oh, yeah!
Well, you didn't even talk about Droid here.
Oh,
who, like,
Dr. Droid!
Sets up a whole bunch of stuff that never gets followed up on. But, like, this is... I don't know. It's not the first time it's hinted at. But it's definitely... If you missed it before, and you read this special, which I don't know why you would, you would now see, like, oh yeah, wait a minute. I guess Mobius is actually just Earth. Because, like, Droid, like, builds this up at one point. It's like, oh, there are lots of events that you will soon learn about that I already know about. Wahahaha. And so that actually is followed up on in some form, I guess, ultimately, but in a different way than was intended.
Yeah, holy fuck. This comic is special. Oh, and I forgot it's dedicated to Chris Carter at the end.
Yeah. Let's rip off your characters and then dedicate it to you.
I hope that one day, like, maybe next time X-Files gets a revival or something, somebody brings this comic to him at, like, a convention and be like, hey, do you know about this?
Can you sign this for me?
God. It makes me want to watch the X-Files. I've never seen it the whole way through.
It's not worth it.
Oh.
At
So
least
I
what
guess
I've watched.
do we have the Sonic Live pocket to put this? Because
I'd put it over Sonic Live personally.
It's definitely over Sonic Live.
it's more
I think
competent from a
It's
visual
definitely
perspective.
under Sonic Kids for me, though.
Yeah, I think it probably objectively that's where it goes.
But it's
Yeah,
more of a
it goes there.
storytelling nightmare, yeah, so... Super Special
Holy
number
shit.
8.
Oh no.
What is this one? Oh, it's Zone Wars. We finally got Sonic, and we've got Sally Moon,
Oh boy.
and Dr... What do they call her? Dr. Ivana Robotina? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is full of ironic enjoyment, because that's silly. This is the one with old Sonic needing to be put out of his misery.
That's right.
That's right.
This has also the fucking J. Loveras Many Hands story adapting that bad Sad AM episode. It's just, it's a and there's Monkey Kong in this. It is a 4-hit combo of trash.
Holy crap. That is incredible.
This starts a very unfortunate trend. Well, I guess it was already kind of started. This puts us on a no return course.
Yeah.
At least for a while. So that I hate it for that, but this instance of chaos, it's probably not the worst we're gonna see. It's kind of entertaining.
It is,
but it is objectively bad.
I kind of want to put it over Sonic Kids just for that fact.
I would definitely put it over Sonic Kids, despite the fact that, I think Sonic Kids more fits in the series.
Oh yeah, probably, but this is a lot more entertaining.
I'm putting it over Sonic Kids because the panel of Sally crying and asking Snively to kill Sonic is that fucking funny.
It really is.
Oh right, then there's another Sonic Kids. Good God.
Oh God, that's already?
Yeah, and this is by far the weirder of the two because it's not just telling childhood stories, but it's trying to do weird foreshadowing. Because it's got the zone of premonitions thing where they all end up or something. I don't know.
The zone of fucking something.
And it's drawn by Sam Maxwell, so it looks really, really weird. I don't know what to make of this first story. It's less over-explaining things we already know, but it's complete nonsense, on the other hand. It also features Green Hill under construction, and you can see scaffolding on the half-built loop, which that's made out of dirt, Sonic, but whatever.
Once again, this issue demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of actually what the series is. It tries to explain things, and instead it just makes it more confusing. Yeah, you didn't build Green Hill Zone. What the heck is up with that place? You don't have to explain, the whole bit with Sally's future or whatever. That doesn't add anything, especially this late in the game. We've already sailed that ship. And also I don't know why they had to do 2 Sonic Kids as well. You're gonna lose points because of that. You did it twice. No.
Yeah, this is also the first of that one day that Sally and Knuckles were together stories, which is really annoying.
So instrumental in their growing up.
Yeah, and it's... I would say that if anything is the star of this issue, it is the Amadeus Prower story at the back.
Yeah?
In that he tries to stop Robotnik's coup, gets roboticized, and then one of the cruelest things in these comics is Robotnik sending him in disguise, roboticized, to go see the birth of his son, and making his wife cry.
Jesus. I forgot about that.
And then the comic forces a happy ending, despite how fucked up that is.
God, yeah.
You know, I don't remember enjoying this that much when I read it, but compared to the other, like, this isn't Tales of the Great War officially, but it has the same vibes.
Right.
Stories in the past with Robotnik as Warlord. It actually stacks up, favorably. So I gotta give it that. Yeah, it's definitely Robotnik being very, very evil.
Indeed.
Like almost cartoonishly evil, which, I mean, he is already cartoonishly evil.
So I guess the question here is Sonic Kids 2 better than Sonic Kids 1?
I think it is.
I guess it might have to be. Like, it's like, we're stacking, what is it, Tails' shoes and, that combat fight versus, Amadeus thing and Sally and Knuckles. Because, like, both of them, their lead story is the worst of the three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess...
I'd put it above Sonic Kids, but below...
Wacky Zone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, of course! Sonic and Sabrina the Teenage Witch is
Alright, that goes straight to the bottom.
No, not quite, because...
No.
Well, A, this is fucking silly, and I almost kind of respect it for that. And B, this also has Sonic Underground in there.
It does have Sonic Underground, and... Yeah.
Whether that's a plus, your mileage may vary.
There's also this little bit... Wait, is that part of the Underground story?
With Evil Sonic?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all one story.
That is part of it. That's right, because he's involved in that somehow. Okay. Yeah, what a weird issue.
Yeah.
As much as I hate Underground, don't hate the Underground story here.
No, the Underground story is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the flagship story does kind of ruin it.
The flagship story is lame, but honestly, the Zone Wars story kind of holds up because it's realistically the Zone Wars story is most of this issue.
If you have to have Sonic throw Sonic into a situation for any reason, it at least connects it to the wider franchise. So
yeah,
I might put this above one of the Sonic Kids, but not the other, maybe, or maybe above both of them.
I'd put it in between.
In between? What do you think, Lauren?
Sure. I guess it's so hard to rank these. They're all bad in different ways.
Indeed. Oh god, Girls Rule, Sonic Super Special 11.
Oh boy.
This one, we had our up and downs with this one. It's better for not having any fucking Zone Wars stories in it. We have Sally getting naked and walking in a pool of gold and silver. We have Hershey setting a bomb for Eggman that doesn't amount to anything even though it explodes. We have the Wolf Pack being roboticized. We have Bunny getting surgery on her cybernetics, and then we have Julie Sue meeting Simon. Honestly,
all over the place issue.
Laying it out like that, I fucking hate the Sally Dip story, as we've talked about. Other than that, I don't like the thing with Lupe, like, killing them off and then unkilling them. But honestly, it ranks better among most of these that we've been covering, I think.
I think it does, honestly, because, I mean, 3 of the stories are underwhelming, but I feel like the Bunny story and the Julie Sue story are at least interesting enough.
Yeah, and the Hershey story is, like, fine. Like, I don't hate it.
The Hershey story is just kind of nothing.
The Hershey story matches Hershey as a character, which is that I don't have any opinion, but I'm not annoyed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd put this above the first Zone Wars, maybe? Would we put it above Sonic and Knuckles, even?
I would probably.
Yo.
I don't know. Honestly, I can't decide.
I'm feeling above Sonic and Knuckles.
All right. I'll agree with that then.
Sure. All right. What the fuck is this one?
Oh, God,
this is Turnabout Heroes. This is the sideways one.
Yeah, this is a weirdly formatted one.
Well, it's because it was published in a different comic, I think.
Right.
This is also... Oh, right. This is also the one with Sonic Gotcha-Man, and also the one where Sonic has an Eggman robot to fight kaiju versions of his friends and his dad.
Oh, yeah.
I hate this one. Get it out of my face.
That one,
This has to be really low
Sonic
ranking.
and Knuckles bodies... Yeah, it's... Blah.
Yeah.
This is Zone Wars at its Zone Warsiest.
I'd put it up... I feel like above Image Comics, though.
Above Image Comics, below Sonic Kids 1?
That's what I'm feeling, because... Well, no, wait, no. Between Sonic Live and Image.
Yeah, okay, good. I was about to argue that, but I'm glad that you came to that conclusion yourself.
I had a moment there for a second. Don't worry, it's fine.
I guess Zone Wars has just gotten that vapid to you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, like, there is... If you're enjoying it ironically, Image Comics is pretty good. If you're not enjoying it ironically and you're like being really analytical about it, it's actually pretty fascinating too. It is objectively bad. Also, this is also objectively bad. And there's nothing to it. It's just
you're saying
they're just vapid. Doing stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and especially since it has a Robotnik and Dimitri team up that is never ever a part of the actual narrative, and they have to retcon that Robotnik is a robot. So yeah, they had to write around that, because I bet you that wasn't constructed with Robotnik being dead in mind, potentially.
Yeah.
And they just contrived that because they're like, oh, make it canon. So yeah. Sonic Adventure. Oh, finally one that we might be able to place a little bit higher. Not that it's a great version of Sonic Adventure, just that it's better than a lot of what came before.
It does it does at least... It keeps the plot going.
It's not boring. Yeah, that's my main takeaway. I would put it in the same range as the other game adaptations.
Yeah, I think between Blast and Battle Royale.
Like that, you think?
Seems reasonable to me.
All right. Yeah, it's very logically, it's a very sloppy written version of SA1 because you know how rushed it was.
Right.
So I guess that's fair, because there are just things that straight up contradict each other and like logical failures in this story all over the place. Which goes for the entirety of SA1 in the comics, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, whatever this is called, Sonic, the one with the lawyers.
It's Better Call Sally.
This is one of the few cases where Ken Penders brought the way better story of the issue.
Oh yes,
yes,
a fucking wild statement.
Yeah, because the Sally as a lawyer universe is just ugly and a dumb idea, and it doesn't even like get development really. What positive thing can I say about it? I like that Sonic wins by doing as much crime as possible. That's all I got.
I kind of like Snively in this universe.
Snively's design,
or at least his
specifically.
Design. Yeah, I don't like Snively.
The best thing
his
about
design is fucking hilarious.
Pinstripe Snively, Italian American used car salesman. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's funny. The star of the issue, which is not really a compliment, is whatever the Knuckles story was called. We have, well, it's the Dark Legion launching the Quantum Beam. It's the Dingoes firing guns into the air. It's Hawking fucking dying. It's Lorelei marrying Windwalker. You know, if you say all of those things out loud, you know, you got the Brotherhood fighting as a unit. It sounds like a lot of big stuff is happening. And technically that's true. It's still boring to read, but at least is something.
There's shit actually happening, and Hawking dying is the biggest part.
Yeah, it is totally unskippable, which we have not been able to say for a lot of these stories.
That's true.
It is definitely by Knuckles plot standards, but by Knuckles plot standards, not too bad.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So where the hell do you put that? Above most of the Zone Wars stuff, maybe? Even though it is Zone Wars?
It's above the Zone Wars stuff.
I think it's below the hilarious Zone Wars one,
the
right
first
there.
one?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because it's a worse Zone Wars, but a better everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so finally, we end off with possibly... Is Super Special 15 the bottom of the barrel? Because it's the most embarrassing out of all of them. Even... Because, like, you could make the argument that someone could tolerate the artwork in all the others. The fact that it's just so obviously unfinished and not there in this story... It's a toss-up between, do you go with the more obviously broken or the one that's more unpleasant to look at?
Yeah, it's a tough choice. Definitely, it's definitely a battle for the bottom spot right here.
Yeah.
And I could be convinced either way. Personally, I think I'm more partial to the fact that this special is just not put together well technically, and and that's an objective fact, and so I'll put it at the bottom for that.
I think it deserves to be at the bottom.
It's a simpler read, and like even though we have like I didn't mind the very bizarre Sin City parody, but it's like that's one more case of there's no color in this story. How convenient! It's all drawn by Gallagher again, which is one of the strangest things. Just that he penned all of that, and the Sonic versus Naugus thing. This being the last fight we've had with Naugus this whole time is crazy.
That is wild. I think the best part about this story, though, just on the art front, though, is that once it goes black and then we start getting more color, the art just gets significantly worse.
Yeah, it just breaks down.
It's great. I love it.
It is kind of funny.
Credit to Flynn and Butler years later for going back and entirely remaking this story.
Looking forward to it.
I can't give this comic credit for that.
Right.
So yeah, keep it at the bottom. So that is the specials. I feel pretty decent about this layout. I wonder what is the point at which we stop saying the specials are good, because we call Mecha Man good, we call Supersonic Hyper Knuckles good. In Your Faces, it's good. It's fine. Chaotix's lead story is good enough. I think somewhere around Triple Trouble and Blast is where we stop calling them good.
Yeah, I think so.
Which, as we suspected, that means most of the specials are just a waste of time.
Yeah,
we kind of already knew.
How many is this? 21 of these?
Something like that.
So the bottom... the bottom 16 of them are just not worth picking up.
Wow, a super special didn't even break the top 5.
You're right. All of the super specials are below all of the normal specials.
Oh my god, that's incredible! That is incredible.
Didn't even
Sonic and Knuckles.
Think about that. Wow,
that is incredible. We just hated all of the super specials.
It's just a fact.
And that is.
Let's see. I'm thinking like. Yeah, by and large, the super specials mostly just got worse.
Oh, they totally did.
They were a little more erratic, but...
There's a few that were, like, decent, like, adventure.
Yeah, it's amazing that we talk shit about Battle Royale and Brave New World and Return of the King. They're still at the top of almost all the super specials.
It really just goes to show the super specials are just useless. Or at least at the beginning, maybe they're not. But, like, once you get to, like... the 4th or 5th super special, they're just pointless.
Yep.
Yeah. So, on the flip side of that, we have the milestones, which will
Oh boy.
fare maybe all of them better. I don't know. We're ranking them separately, but we can also generally say how we feel about them compared to specials. So, we're starting with Sonic number 25. That is our Sonic CD adaptation. It is obviously a very early story. It's our first Metal Sonic and such, but I have fun with it. It's Spazion.
Yeah, this is a fun one. Art's great, and the writing is for the most part quite good.
It's corny, but it's good corny.
It's
Yeah,
very good for this period.
I like Snively in a Robotnik suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, good Spazion art.
Yeah, so that's, obviously there's nothing else here, but does it get usurped by Sonic 50? I would say probably, yeah.
I think so,
I
yeah.
don't think there's any probably about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sonic
I can see someone maybe not liking issue 50, which, okay, you can have your opinion. But
issue 50 is
I think
a big
you have
enough
to rank
deal.
it higher.
Issue 50 is a big enough deal that I think it should be.
I like issue 50 in a lot of ways. I think it's, because we had a long conversation about it in that episode. That is one of our longest individual issue discussions. And it's not terrible. I think it's more that I don't like the endgame arc as it coalesces as a whole, whereas issue 50 is still a good finale to it.
Yeah.
Specifically the big fight between Sonic and Eggman, and the plan coming together with everybody working in a somewhat diegetic way.
Yeah.
I wish that most of it didn't hinge on Hershey and Drago, since this is their introduction story. And just we don't know them as characters.
I mean, to be fair, this issue does have Hershey and Drago, or Hershey beating the shit out of Drago.
No, I don't mind that.
So I can appreciate that, she almost beans him in the head with a fucking rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. The endgame arc.
She does.
Does she? Oh, excuse me. Crushes his skull with a larger rock.
Yeah.
The endgame arc overall was probably kind of weak, but this is a solid.
Yeah. So the other parts, I guess I'll agree. Yeah, maybe not as great. Especially since it mostly focuses on like a falsely accused Sonic plotline.
Right. Yeah.
And Jeffrey is in it a lot. But concluding all that, I think this is pretty darn strong. And
yeah.
As like a big paradigm shift, even if it ended up shifting for the worse. If you're gonna make a big shakeup, this is a great way to do it, I think.
This is the way to do it.
Especially knowing that they thought that the comic would end here. I don't like that they killed off Sally, even though they did bring her back. I think I would be a lot more accepting of the arc as a whole if Sally did get to do stuff in it. But since this does at least put her back at the end, it's good.
Yeah.
I think 75 is better, though.
Well, I don't think my opinion is going to count for much here. But it's certainly very good. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll respect that opinion. I certainly do really enjoy it. I think the build-up is weaker, even if it's not as messy.
That's fair, because we were just like, what did we get as build-up to this? We got one issue, but before that we just had a bunch of satellites turning on, which is really...
Yeah.
I think for me, it's more that Endgame is a big up, right? This is a big down. Even though the heroes get out okay, it's ultimately a story about them losing. And so it's, it's an Empire Strikes Back thing where things get so bad that it becomes memorable for me. And I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that Robotnik is back that I like.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and I've already said my piece about how much I have problems with how that was handled. But Robotnik is a pretty good villain, and he's rocking it here. So I can't be too mad.
Well, and how they handle Eggman is not even necessarily a problem specific to this issue, though I suppose you can still say that it matters. Yeah, I really want to put it above 50, but I don't want to, like, just step all over you guys. I don't know.
I think.
What is your opinion, Bruce?
I think I'd put 50 over the top personally.
Oh, okay.
But 75 is definitely a very good issue.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Well, these may remain there for a while because our next one is Sonic number 100, which I know you guys do not like very much, and I think is it's all right. It doesn't feel like a milestone issue as we've talked about. It just feels like the next step in a story. Yeah. I think freeing the Robians is good. The sword's power is bullshit.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I think that all of the stuff leading up to Robotropolis being nuked and all of that, they should have condensed all of that down into a single story across, 99 and 100.
Yeah.
It also has fucking Tober and Kragok flying into a beam and exploding.
In the other story, right? Because there's another story here for some reason. Because it wasn't supposed to be a milestone issue. That's right.
Well, I mean, one has that too, because even though that was supposed to be the milestone issue,
right?
Yeah, so you say that, but anyhow, I also like to point out that it's Nate's last issue.
It is, yeah,
that's true.
And honestly, it's not a terrible Nate story. Nate is not a hugely memorable character.
Overall, not really.
I have a soft spot for him because he's such a weirdo, but he's a weirdo with a good heart, I think. And he goes out
a hero.
Yeah.
So where are we placing this? Is it at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that 125 is better than 100. What do you guys think?
I like 125. I'd put it over 100.
I know that, Lauren, you said that it was kind of like you didn't use the word schlocky because that's more my vocabulary, but that kind of described what I gathered your opinion was on this.
They just kind of shoved a whole bunch of stuff together, and not in a very graceful manner. Yeah. I talked about build-up with 50 and 75, and so I'll bring back build-up again here. There's not a whole lot, actually. They kind of just say, this is happening now, and then it happens, which is a big
that is fair.
Weakness for me.
Yeah, I think the fact that it... Yeah, it's a payoff to what is essentially a background element, because the fact that Mobius' post-apocalyptic Earth hasn't actually mattered much before now.
It hasn't really, that's true.
Hence, Lauren mentioning that its overall presence in the comics could have been almost anything. It could have been explained away up until this point.
Sure. I think to me, what that mainly does is just add a little bit more flavor, but that's also very true that it doesn't add anything of substance.
Yeah. Now, that being said, you can win me over with flashy action that doesn't actually mean that much. I enjoy Resurrection F.
Same.
So seeing all these characters in a huge space war is fun for at least a while, and I especially appreciate that this brings back real Knuckles.
Yes.
After so long Gruckles.
Yeah, we get Knuckles basically telling God to fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, it was a preview for Baller's better writing of Knuckles.
It really was.
So, I put it above 100. Is it above 25?
Not quite for me.
Not quite?
Yeah, okay. I definitely wouldn't say so.
I like it, but 25 is definitely better.
Well, we only have one left for the regular Sonic comics, and it's my least favorite out of all of these. It is the least milestone-y, and it's Just I've already stated my moral objection to this comic. I don't like it.
But Turbo Tales.
Turbo Tales is hilarious.
This is the point where we have to rank them on ironic enjoyment.
No, I honestly agree. 150 is at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have moral objections like you do, but yeah, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. Like
it's. But we do have one special contender, which
is
it's
Knuckles
Echidna, number 25, featuring the reuniting of Knuckles and Locke. Where do we want to put this one?
This is where they reveal that he microwaved the baby, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
that's a very important issue right there. Man, that warps the landscape of Knuckles' role for a long time. For the worse, definitely, but it's important. Why are you moving it so high?
I don't know. I'd put it above.
You almost put it above 100. I was like, what are you doing? No, yeah, that's exactly where it belongs.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny, but it's dumb. So that is the Milestone issues. Overall, I think that there are more good things in the Milestone issues than almost any of the specials.
Yeah.
But that's probably
no
true
question
for any random issue. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, give me a random issue we've already read, I'll probably enjoy it more than a random super special.
Most likely, yeah. Yeah, I would say I would say most of the Milestone issues are, all right, at least.
Yeah.
Which is not true of the specials.
I would say even that a given Milestone issue, with the exception of 150, is not less enjoyable than any other Sonic issue. They're usually better, even.
Whereas the specials and super specials are, with the exception, in my opinion, of basically just Mecha Madness and Super Sonic and Hyper Knuckles, are just overall worse than regular issues.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to come back here after the Flynn era and see how the modern issues stack up. I mean, I don't think there's going to be much contest, I'm going to be honest.
I am interested to see that.
More polished, and I mean, the Flynn era doesn't really have specials. They do have Milestones, and they have Sonic Universe arcs. And I guess you could put, like, free comic book day issues in here. But that is, for now, our coda on the original run of Archie Sonic before they started fucking with it.
Holy crap.
I had a really good time with these, but not because they're
so
really
did
good
I.
comics.
Same. No, I had fun.
Agreed.
Because, like, I think I mentioned in our last regular issue episode that, like, this was something I've been wanting to do for a while, because Devin had always mentioned how crazy these comics are, so I'm glad I'm finally actually getting to do it.
Yeah, well, and this format for things, I think, worked really well. I think we may be at our best as a show when we're talking about comics. Because,
honestly, yeah.
As we'll probably mention once we get to the very end of the early 2000s, especially these adventure era games, they were growing pains for us and for me specifically in terms of how much workload I assigned to myself and to others. And it led to some sometimes erratic episodes, but overall, the comics have been the most consistent thing, despite being the least consistent thing.
Yeah, ironically, they've been our most consistent episodes.
Well, there's consistently a lot to talk about because there's a lot in these.
Whereas I found a lot of, like, the smaller games during the adventure era and even the classic era, felt like we struggled a lot with what to talk about.
Yeah. Like, as we were ranking these specials, like, as we said, like, a lot of them are bad, but it's like, wow, they're bad in different ways, though.
Right.
Which is, there's something.
Which does
there's
make me
some
wonder
value to be gleaned from that, at least.
Which does make me wonder if maybe we should have ranked the games as well.
Well, there's always the future.
There's always future bonus episodes, yeah.
almost every single one of these has their own unique voice.
Oh, yeah.
Even if I wish it was saying something less completely stupid.
Yeah, even though we wish it was mute.
Yeah. But guess what, everybody? You can mute us now, because that is going to be it for tonight. I don't even know what that means.
I mean, they can mute us the entire time. It's not like they have to wait till the end of the episode.
Good point. It's become a running gag how bad I am at introducing the outroduction.
Outro, just outro.
Is outroduction a word?
I don't think it is.
That's stupid.
It's an interesting phrase, though.
It might be. Hey, use it more often and it might become a word.
Yeah.
I'm like a modern Shakespeare Penders.
Oh, God.
Free to have slightly unsatisfying Doctor Who episodes made out of me. Anyway, with all that said, that is going to be it for tonight. The next time you see us will be maybe the last episode of Archie, maybe us finally getting into Sonic X, the Japanese version, because we're not fucking plebs. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my two co-hosts for being here. I'm tripping over my words again. I love you guys. I love our viewers so much that I insult them every other outro. But if you like this video, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, criticism, or feedback, especially over my stupid-ass outros, you can find us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. We will see you next time. I hope you have a great night, a great rest of your week, and take care.